Hi, everybody. Welcome to Something to Talk About. My name is Taco, and I have some alternate history here. This is gonna be fun. So yeah, let's just get into it. Hi, welcome to Something to Talk About. My name is Taco, and yeah, I have one of my first what ifs. So I have a lot of these planned. This is just another. I did all these small counts, or not small councils. That's what this is. Lord guards, and then after that, somebody's like, "Hey, what about Daemon Blackfyres?" Which is technically a what if, and I'm like, "All right, yeah, I'll do that." And I put it out, and people liked it. And then someone's like, "Cool, do their small council." Dang it, it's a good idea. I tried to do small councils for the Lord's guards, but it was kind of hard, and I didn't really dig it. And I did like the idea of putting together small councils, but it made more sense to do it for would-be kings. So that's what I'm going to do, at least for now. I'm going to see what you guys think of this video. And this one was a suggestion, which I'll get into who it was from here in a second. But yeah, if you guys like this, I have other ones I can do. So yeah, so let's just do it. What if small councils, if Daemon Blackfyre won? So Daemon Blackfyre, if Daemon Blackfyre won the Red Grass Field. And yeah, so let's just... Why am I gonna explain? I'll just have this explain. What is this? I'll be making what if videos in the vein of small councils. God, you gotta love my typos. This stemmed from a comment from Samuel Coomes, who commented on my Daemon Blackfyre's Kingsguard vid, asking for a small council for him. This has stemmed into me thinking of other would-be kings. I will only be pulling from existing lore, so keep that in mind. In the comment, Samuel Coomes put up his suggestions, and it's really cool, but they were mostly characters that he came up with. And that's sweet. I like that. But I'm a lore guy. I want to pull specifically from lore. So I will not come up with any characters on my own. All right. So it's just, I'm going to say, what if Daemon Blackfyre won? I won't say, and then he met this guy who's a thief, and this is how he ties. I'm not saying that that's a wrong way to go. That's just not the way I'm going. Me being somebody who's steeped in the lore, and I really do love revisionist history and not revisionist history. You know what I mean? Alternate history, not revisionist history. Alternate history. And I've read like Turtle Dove's books and all these other couple of them, and I like the most when people do alternate history when it's not quite fan fiction, right? When it's not quite theories, when you're taking the world that did exist and trying to turn it one direction opposed to making a new one, right? So that's what I really want to do. So I won't pull anybody. I will pull people who I don't know their names for the most part, but they are real people in the lore. So I will only be pulling from existing lore. I will not make up any characters from scratch. This is all based on the lore, and it is just my opinion. Please tell me your small council in the comments. Yeah, if you disagree with this one, let me know. This is just all my opinion. So, small council. Of course, I'm going to start with the Master of Coin, and then we have Master of Laws, Master of Ships, Master of Whispers, Grand Maester, which is really hard to do. Did I already say Master of Ships? Lord Commander, and Hand. If I didn't say one, don't worry, I have it covered. I just don't have it on the top of my head. All right, cool. So their Master of Coin, his Master of Coin, I'm going to go with Ambrose Butterwell. One more thing before we start. So I think in order for this to work, Quinton Fireball Ball was not killed, right? And I think that him being alive somehow thwarted Raven's teeth from coming up. Maybe him being commanding, it maybe kept other people back, or maybe he was back since he didn't have to command the forces up front. Maybe Daemon Blackfyre and Aegor Rivers weren't able to be then jumped by the Raven's teeth and defeated them, and that's why it was such a big victory. So I will be pulling people who both died in that battle or things like that. So it was a great victory, and then he took the throne. So Ambrose Butterwell. So let's get into Ambrose Butterwell. This is a buttery snake. Ambrose is a buttery snake that plays both sides during the first Blackfyre Rebellion. You gotta love my typos. So there was a possibility that he wouldn't be trusted. But since he served both as a master of coin for King Daemon's father, which is Aegon the Unworthy, and as hand of the king for Daeron, he has a good resume, right? He served as hand of the king and master of coin at one point. I think that he could weasel his way into the small council, not as hand, of course. He worked both sides, sacrificing at least one kid to get as much power as possible. Ambrose, holy crap, dude. So, of course, he would push to get a spot. And since he did this for Aegon the Unlikely, since he did this job for Aegon the Unworthy, not Unlikely. Since he did this job for Aegon the Unworthy, it makes a lot of sense. Let's get through my typos there. So Ambrose Butterwell, right? Worked for Aegon the Unlikely as Hand of the King. I said Unlikely again. Aegon the Unworthy, the fat one. He did a Master of Coin for him, and then for his son Daeron, he was Hand of the King. And then Daeron didn't like how he was kind of playing both sides, because he was. So during the Battle of the Redgrass Field, he had some of his sons on the Targaryen side and some of his sons on the Blackfyre side. So he's literally playing both sides. And then if the Blackfyres won, he might be able to be like, hey, I was hand once, I was Master of Coin once, can I sneak in? And I think they might have let him. I don't know. That's my push, Ambrose. And also, Ambrose does kind of live on as being a big Blackfyre supporter later on, of course, at the Tourney of White Walls, which we'll get to and all that. Okay, so going to Master of Whispers, a guy named Quickfinger. I had no idea who this dude was. And as I was like searching around for Daemon Blackfyre supporters, I come across Quickfinger, and I'm like, this is perfect for Master of Whispers. Okay, this is perfect. Master of Whispers is a very hard spot to fill. I don't fill it in all the ones I've been like thinking about, because unlike other spots, you need to actually be super skilled to get it. You can't just toss a random lord in, right? So I found Quickfinger. During the first Blackfyre Rebellion, Quickfinger sided with the rebels. Quickfinger was caught with stolen dragon eggs. According to Eustace Osgray, if he would have succeeded, he could have changed the tide of the war. So I think we can say that in this world, he did succeed. That's something that helps change the tide of battle, right? And for his duty and his skills as a thief and ties to the underworld, he would make a perfect Master of Whispers. So this random thief named Quickfinger was caught stealing dragon eggs. So let's say he didn't get caught. He stole dragon eggs. I don't think they hatched a dragon, but maybe they sold them. Bolstered Daemon Blackfyre up even more. So then during Battle of Redgrass Field, it was one of the things, just like Quinton Ball not dying, that really kind of changed the tide, right? So Quickfinger, being this thief, clearly part of the underworld, knows the Red Keep, right? He really kind of fits this Master of Whispers thing. And as gratitude for helping him helping Daemon Blackfyre by stealing these dragon eggs, he gets a spot on the small council. I love it. I don't know who Quickfinger is. I just learned about him researching this, and I think he is perfect. And Master of Whispers is a really hard spot to fill, so I was really happy there. Master of Laws, Gorman Peak. This is another no-brainer. This guy is very intense and oddly super hot. Look at him. Supporter of Daemon. He loves the Blackfyre so much that he never stops supporting them until the day he literally dies. He is notably very influential and made a name for himself, killing the former Hand of the King, Lord Hayford. He would make a good candidate for Hand if Daemon didn't already have a perfect one. Yeah, Gorman Peak's kind of a no-brainer, like I already said. So he's a staunch supporter. I think he would totally fit into this Master of Laws. And also, he's the type of dude who's not only going to want to have a place of prominence for Daemon Blackfyre, but who Daemon Blackfyre is probably going to be really grateful for and easily will give him a spot. And this is just as good a spot as any, right? Maybe if the Hand of the King doesn't make it as Hand or eventually dies, Gorman would have made a perfect Hand if Daemon didn't already have a hand. We all know who Daemon's hand's going to be, right? So for Master of Ships, I kind of went off the beaten path, and I kind of really love it. I hope you guys do too. Lord Sunderland will be Master of Ships. This is weird, but I love it. I don't know this guy's name. We don't know this guy's name. We just know that he's a supporter. But we do know that he is a staunch supporter of Daemon, and he dragged the sistermen into the conflict. And just like Gorman, he continued to support the Blackfyres afterwards. So he is at the turning up at White Walls, just like Ambrose Butterwell and Gorman Peak, right? So we know that Lord Sunderland not only is pretty powerful, he's in charge of all the sisters, the islands, and he's like, you know, Lord of Sister Chin, Lord of the Three Sisters. So it's kind of he's probably the most powerful naval power that we know stayed a staunch supporter of Daemon Blackfyre, right? So yeah. I love him as Master of Ships because he's finally a choice that isn't a red wine or a Valerian, right? And the Three Sisters carry a very strong marine culture in just like the other holders of the office, but with a darker, kind of slimier version. I dig it. These guys are just as known for their marine culture as the Iron Islands or the red wines or the Valerians, right? But they kind of have this Lovecraftian thing. They got these webbed fingers. They're kind of known as being like wrecker lords, right? Smugglers, kind of more pirates, might even be the squishers, right? So I love the idea that in this reality, they're getting more powerful. They back the right person this time. And I think a Lord Sunderland as Master of Ships is perfect. I love it. Okay. So Maesters is going to be really hard. I think I explained it in here. So Grand Maester, not sure. Okay. I know that's a cop out, but I'm just going to make a dude up. Sorry. This is a cop out, but I'm not going to make a dude up. Like I said, I'm not going to make up anybody from scratch. The Grand Maester of Daemon and Aegon the Fourth are unknown, so I couldn't have just pulled from one of those. So I can't use them. And the Maester that Daemon sent Gawain Corbray to was unnamed. So probably that one, but also the king doesn't pick them, the Citadel does. So it's almost impossible to pick. I'm coming up with a problem with a lot of these other ones I've been trying to think about, these small councils, with the Grand Maester, because the Grand Maester isn't just picked, right? It can be influenced, but the Grand Maester is sent from the Citadel. So maybe the one that Daemon had with him during the Battle of the Red Grass Field. So after he had this amazing epic fight with Gawain Corbray, he didn't send him to a Maester, and that's when like the Rain of Arrows. But of course, the Rain of Arrows doesn't happen this time. So maybe that Maester, but we never heard his name. He never said. He sent him to Maester Ted, and Ted saved him. Or else I would probably have Ted being his Grand Maester. But since we don't know who that Maester is, he could be not in any way qualified. So I'm going to go with a not sure, and that's probably going to be the answer for quite a few Grand Maesters if I end up making these, because they're kind of the hardest, just like Master of Whispers, they're probably the hardest to actually fill. All right, so Lord Commander, if you watched my Daemon Blackfyre's Kingsguard video, you know who I'm going to choose. It's not changing. It is still Quinton Ball. It is still the Fireball. So I picked him for my Lord's Guard video. It was not Lord's Guard, but yeah. And I stand by it. He's a perfect Lord Commander. I see Daemon really valuing Fireball as an advisor, more than a normal Lord Commander being on the council, kind of more as a formality. But he really being an important part of the council. I see kind of like a lot of times the Lord Commanders are kind of just like there. They're sometimes not even sitting at the table. They're kind of just like sitting up, just kind of watching in, but kind of still guarding the door. That is not this Lord Commander. I feel like Quinton Ball, the Hand and the King and everybody would love Quinton Ball's advice. So I think that he's going to take the Lord Commander spot and really make it important. Kind of redo it, if you will. Like, this is a very important advisory role. In this small council, I see the Lord Commander being like the third most important, only because of who he is, because everybody at this table would either fear or absolutely respect Quinton Fireball Ball. So who's Hand of the King? Well, you guys know. So let's do it. Last person. So Daemon Blackfyre's Hand of the King is, of course, Aegor Rivers. A no-brainer. Just like his Targaryen loyalist counterpart, Bloodraven, he would move on to serve as Hand. He married the daughter of Daemon, his half-niece, Cella Blackfyre, and this gives him strong, unbreakable ties to Daemon, and he would rule along with him. I'm sure he would probably rename himself and start a proper house. I do think that. I've heard some people call him like Aegor Truesteel instead of Bittersteel, but I honestly think that Bittersteel would make House Bittersteel. I think that he likes that moniker of being bitter. No, I'm Bittersteel. Everyone fears me, you know. But I do see him like actually getting a seat, getting a house, and starting his own house with what's her name, Cella Blackfyre. Like, it's a big name. Like, that's the princess there. So I don't see him just being like this dude in the shadows. I see him actually starting up a very important house, right? So I'm sure he would name himself. Like I said, he might name himself. I could also see him going to be hand or serve the crown in some way, even for other Blackfyre kings until he dies. Yeah, just like Bloodraven, like served as hand of the king for a few people down the line, like for Aerys Blackfyre or Aerys Targaryen, and then for for Maekar Targaryen. I see Aegor like until he dies. If Daemon dies first, I'm assuming Aegor is going to stay as hand, and I think he's going to be an important part of the Blackfyre regime for this dynasty until he dies, just like he was for them when they were rebels. This time they're not rebels. So yeah, of course, Aegor, the Bittersteel, had to be hand of the king. So what do you guys think? You have any ones that you want me to cover next? These what if small councils, kind of looking slightly into alternate history. What if somebody won? I do have a few I want to do, and I'll tell you which ones, so you don't have to suggest them. I'm gonna do Rob's. Not if he took the Iron Throne, but if he survived, Red Wedding never happened, and then he for his Kingdom of the North and the Rivers. I'm gonna do that one. Council of One-on-One, if it goes to Laenor, I will be doing that one. Unlike the show, he was actually number 2. Laenor Valerion was the second person who was runner-up, so I kind of have one for him. And then, yeah, I don't want to give them all away, but I got a couple other thoughts of would-be kings that I could do small councils for. So, yeah, probably none that are going on right now. I won't be doing one for, like, ones that are still possibly going to take. But if Stannis won the Blackfyre would be a good one. So that's another one that I'm looking at. So not if Stannis wins later on, but Stannis wins the Blackfyre. Those are the ones that I've kind of been looking at. And, yeah, let me know. So that's all I got. And, yeah, what'd you think of this video? And thanks. Like, subscribe, do all that stuff. Peace.